Will you talk about your relationship with your sister, if you will, a little bit, just and how I don't know if one of you kind of started earlier. I feel like almost activism is too soft a word for what you guys are doing. I
Hmm.
mean, this is your life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, but if we use that term, was there one of you that started going more towards the activism path first, and then after? I'm also curious as to what this whole process has been like working with your sister to make being side by side with her protesting and working with her on a daily basis.
It was our first rally we attended together. Um,
How old are you?
I don't know. I don't know. I was maybe in my 20s. It was whenever
Hmm.
Sean Bell died.
Okay.
There's been so much death at the hands of the police that it's hard to keep
Yeah.
track, So it was a rally for Sean Bell. I remember it was down Fifth Avenue. We marched from Fifth Avenue to One Police Plaza. And that was the first time we marched, and we did it together. Black Lives Matter, when we founded Black Lives Matter, she's always been, uh, if we could do a comparison, uh, I would say she's always been the person behind the scenes making sure that everything gets done.
Mm.
She would be what you would call the chief executive officer
Hmm.
of sorts, right? Who made sure everything was getting done, and I would be the face of the brand,
Gotcha.
you know.
Yeah.
So both sides work in tandem, but one is always outside, one is always on the front lines, one is always making things happen, and the other is behind the scenes, making sure that everything is working the way that it was supposed to. And it wasn't until her she decided to run. She was like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I'm running for Congress." That she stepped out from behind the scenes. So
Hmm.
she's always been there. It's best because like how we were sitting at this table, we sat at my mom's table and came up with Black Lives Matter New York. We sat at our table and came up with a MLK March where people marched from 5 different boroughs.
Hmm.
All of these things have been like us bouncing ideas back and forth across the kitchen table. So it's cool because regular people, you could curse them out and then walk away. There's no HR department.
Right.
My mother's the HR department. You know what I
Is
mean?
she a good HR
Yeah,
department?
no, because she's always on my sister's side. But sometimes she'll be like, "No, he's right. You're wrong." But so it's family. You fucking curse each other out.
How do you separate family and also, I mean, there's also business sides to it and organization and how do you guys handle disagreements?
I'll give you a perfect example. Activists are weirdos. Quote me on it. Activists are fucking weird. Everything bothers activists. And Siobhan is a type A personality.
Hmm.
She's a businesswoman. She worked in finance.
Yep.
Finance people. They are sensitivity is not their thing. You're right. You have a big heart, but it's about executing and getting to a goal. So when she stepped out from behind the scenes, she had to understand how the landscape of activism works,
Mm.
right? In the business world, you could look at somebody, point at them, and say, "You're ineffective. You are a hindrance to progress. You are fired." It's no problem. That's how you run a business,
Hmm.
right? But in activism, you have to hold hands. You have to sit in a circle. You have to explain who's feeling what
Yeah.
and why. So sensitive, and it's good. Listen. I'm still partially a toxic man. I just got chewed out for being a toxic man this morning, and I was completely wrong.
Oh yeah.
And on social media, and I was completely wrong, and I had to like sit back and take it in. Like, okay, they're right. I'm deleting this right now. But so we are from the streets. Not saying that we're Nino Brown, New Jack City, but we are definitely from the South Bronx. We think like people from the South Bronx with all our degrees and education, and the activism world is very different. It's hyper sensitive. It's a place where ideals are valued more than impact.
Say more about that.
Okay. Ideals versus impact. Idealistically, Governor Cuomo is part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
He perpetuates white supremacy. That's idealistically. From a perspective of impact, when we were in Minnesota, we were on the phone with him about 3 times in that week negotiating laws for this Say Their Names Act, right? So idealistically, we shouldn't have anything to say to him. But if we want impact, and if we want our voices to be heard, and when I say our voices, the voices of the people to be heard, then we have to talk to that man. So where you have people who will say, I will not talk to that man. Those are ideologists. To have people who say, I don't like what you do, but let's work together to find this solution. That's a ruthless pragmatist. And we are ruthless pragmatists.
Now, talk to me about that, legislation process and drafting legislation. I know you were a part of multiple, one of which is the I Can't Breathe Act that you've talked about with Nick Cannon and all that. What is that process like for you, I think, behind the scenes? Because I think I'm curious as to, how does one go about writing a piece of legislation? I know that you have a law degree, so you know that more, I guess, the legal and technical side of it. But how does it work, behind the scenes with the team and thinking, okay, we need this in here, that's out of here? I mean, what's that process like?
Okay. So with the I Can't Breathe Act, we were out in Minnesota, and in a meeting, I said, we need to get Linda Cherian, our director of operations, our ideas for legislation. That was once. Second meeting 2 days ago, 2 days later, Bonnie said, we need to get Linda those ideas. Then they flew back to New York. I flew out to LA, and Linda nudged everybody. So she gave everybody a nudge, and they sent her a couple of pieces. I put them together. I presented them to Nick Cannon. He had some insights he wanted to add. Then I came back to New York and called a meeting. Pizza, wine, right?
That's the beverage of choice?
Yes. I don't drink.
Oh,
I'm through 4 years sober.
Oh, wow.
But I know what the people need. You know what I'm saying? I got to get people, you know what I'm saying? I got to get people in work mode.
You know.
Yeah, man, come on, that's leadership, bro. Right? So we got some pizza, we got some wine, and now everybody's sitting around with their laptops. We have a meeting, we do a check-in session. You know check-ins. How do you feel physically? How do you feel mentally? And we went through some things, and then we kind of split up, right? I had filled in some of the blanks, and then Mario handled education. Donnelly, who's a third year student at CUNY Law School, he handled housing. Glenn did tech. Nepal worked with her young people. Shavana was working on the financial aspects, and everybody played. Not played, but we turned up some loud ass rap music, right? and we're in the Honeycomb Hideout. We're in our little spot, and everybody's typing away and talking, and we finally came up with something. And then, the next day we came back, we regrouped, we sent it out for social media. And the day after that, we held a rally in Times Square to announce it to everybody. So while everybody's working on that, I'm announcing it to the press, right? And getting everything put up on the website. So in a lot of ways, we share responsibility. Everybody in our organization can go anywhere in this country and launch a campaign and know how to conduct every aspect of it. As co-founders, if people in our organization couldn't do that, we'd be failures. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like this video and hit that subscribe button, and also follow me on Instagram at felix.levine to stay updated on all new content as it comes out.